Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our official kickoff of Work Zone Safety Season here in West Virginia. Nationally, this is Work Zone Safety and Awareness Week, and the National Press Conference is taking place this very moment over in Virginia Beach, Virginia, with the folks at WVDOT. I'm Randy Dameron with the Department of Transportation, and I'm really glad you're here. And members of the media, I want to request your help and support in promoting Work Zone Safety here in West Virginia this year. There's a map over here that tells you that we have a lot of paving projects. In fact, over 270 paving projects around the state this year. It's going to be an aggressive year. West Virginia DOT, thanks to the Roads to Prosperity, are fixing roads. Well, each one of those projects is a work zone. So the message today is that there's going to be a lot of work zones around the state, and people need to slow down. For the first half of last year, U.S. DOT estimates another 18% surge in fatalities over the previous year. In fact, the largest number of traffic fatalities since 2006. More motorists and road workers are being killed or injured, and the key word is preventable accidents. When you think about it, if you're paying attention, following the signs, alert of your surroundings, you will have no problems with work zones. And that's the problem. We've sort of jumped ahead over previous years. We've done a lot of media outreach, asking for help and doing billboard advertising, radio commercials, TV commercials. But you know, this year we're jumping way ahead. It really, unfortunately, comes down to enforcement. And that's what you're going to hear about today with our speakers that are going to come up right now. First, you'll hear from our Secretary of Transportation, Jimmy Wriston. And following him will be Cindy Kramer. Cindy, of course, is our Traffic Engineering Director inside the Department of Transportation. Mike Clauser, Contractors Association of West Virginia. Mr. Bob Tipton, Governor's Highway Safety Enforcement. Matt Epling, Public Service Commission. And Lieutenant Zirkle of the West Virginia State Police. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Randy. First of all, thank you all for coming out here today. This may be the most important message that I could give you as the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. I want to, before we get started, I would like to call your attention to the cones on the steps up here behind me with the empty vest. Those empty vests represent 61 West Virginia state highway workers that have lost their lives while on the job over the years. This is unacceptable. We, with the help of some folks up in District 3, particularly Jake Baumgartner, the Director of the Operations Division, we installed a memorial to those 61 folks up there at the rest area. If you're in the area, please stop by. But today, it's about not adding one more name to that memorial, not one. We have to commit to our goal here. We have to partner with anyone and everyone that we can. And we have to make sure that we literally meet that goal of 0 lives lost on our highways, particularly in our work zones, absolutely in particular. You see all of my great partners here behind me, Bob Tipton with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. You see the Public Service Commission. Matt, good to see you. Our contracting partners who represent or Mike Clauser, who represents our contracting partners. Pat, John, good to see y'all here today. This is a united front. This is absolutely a united front because we're serious about this. No longer will we be out there in these work zones just erecting the minimum standards to comply with a standard. What we're going to do is commit to the goal of 0 lives lost. We're going to do that as a partnership. We're going to do that with all of Bob's resources over there. We're going to do that with our enforcement partners. We're going to do that with our contractors. We're going to do that with our own state workers. We have to get this done. This is unacceptable. There's not one empty vest up there behind me that's acceptable, and we cannot have any more. The particulars of how we're going to do this is, yes, absolutely, we have some enforcement. As we work on the roads, these wonderful men and women, they give their all on the highways. all of our contracting partners, our consulting engineering partners that deliver for the citizens of this state. These guys are all hand in hand with us, and we're going to work together to commit to reducing, not just reducing, to eliminate work zone safety incidences. This is what we have to do. This is what we will do. What I'd like to do now is to turn it over to the next group, but I will say this. Work zone fines are doubled in work zones. We're going to be counting on our partners in law enforcement to issue tickets. The days of talking your way out of these tickets in these work zones are over. They're serious. This is how we're going to commit to getting this done. So thank you all for coming. It shows a real commitment on your part. And I'll close by asking for every citizen's help in this state. Every day when you get into your automobile, first thing you do is put on your safety belt. So you're already in the right mind frame. You're putting on your safety belt. But it doesn't stop there. Remain focused throughout your trip. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to what you're doing. You're operating a heavy piece of machinery when you get behind the wheel of an automobile. So pay attention. Put that cell phone down. It'll keep. If you go through a work zone, slow down. You'll go smoothly, and smooth is fast. So the investment you make of your time can literally save people's lives. Thank you.
That's right. He's a hard act to follow. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cindy Kramer, and I'm the director of the Traffic Engineering Division. I'm happy to be here with our partners to highlight work zone safety today. We can glean a lot from history, and crash statistics show work zone crashes are most likely to happen on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Most, 79%, occur during daylight hours, and the most common crash is a rear-end collision. What that says to me with rear-end collision is that somebody needed to be paying attention or they wouldn't have been hitting the vehicle in front of them. So pay attention in our work zones. On average, 85% of the deaths in work zones were the drivers or passengers in the cars. It's not the workers, but it's critical that we keep each other in mind because we're sharing a space. Nationally, we see around 850 fatalities in work zones each year, which is roughly 2% of all fatalities. To put this in perspective more locally in West Virginia, from 2017 to 21, West Virginia reported 21 fatal crashes, which is a little bit over 1% of our total fatalities over that time frame. There were 802 injury crashes and 1,266 property damage crashes. Even though West Virginia's numbers are better than the national average, there's still much work to be done so that everyone gets home safely. The people that lose their lives or are injured are not statistics. They're people back here. They are parents, friends, loved ones, children, and they're deeply missed. While West Virginia is better than national average in work zone performance, we will not be satisfied until everyone arrives home safely. Everybody in our work zones, whether simply driving through it or working, that's their job, they deserve that. Over the last few years, we've noticed an increase in speeding as a contributing circumstance in all crashes statewide. We're seeing the average speeds, we're seeing the 85th percentile speeds, they're all creeping up. In recent years, we've collected speed data in work zones that show vehicles traveling well in excess of 90 miles an hour. Speed limits are in place for your safety. They're not arbitrary, they're there for a reason. And we're going to be working with our partners very closely this year to bring those speeds down and into compliance with what is posted. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the things that we've done to help provide some information to the drivers through work zones. We've made a significant investment into cameras, road systems, road sensors, message boards, those dynamic message boards that you see on the highway, and we use this information to gather and disseminate information to motorists in a timely manner. We utilize social media such as Twitter to notify everyone of road closures and detours. One of the most important tools in our toolbox to improve mobility and safety on our highways and work zones is our 511 program, and there's 3 ways to use that. You can simply dial 511 from your hands-free device and get real-time information. Even better, know before you go, log on to our website and get information there. And then there's a smartphone app that's free and hands-free compatible. We've added a map feature also, so all the information is there at your fingertips, and if you're driving, it's audible. It's our hope by arming a motorist with needed information that we can reduce congestion and collisions within our work zones, and as the Secretary says, not just reduce them, but bring them to zero. Help us encourage everyone to drive distraction-free and pay attention into work zones, particularly the speed limit. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Clauser with the Contractors Association of West Virginia. We represent about 450 firms that employ thousands of West Virginians who are working to improve our highways in West Virginia. And I appreciate the opportunity to be with Secretary Wriston and our partners within law enforcement to talk about this important issue today. As Cindy mentioned, there are numerous statistics on the need for people to slow down. But as she mentioned, what we are really here to talk about today are people. West Virginia construction workers and West Virginia Division of Division of Highway Personnel are hard at work every day to make your commute to work, play, and vacation better. These people are putting their lives at risk to benefit the traveling public. And as Cindy mentioned, all these people are fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, brothers, and sisters, and we are here to plead with visitors who are coming to our state and to West Virginians to put down their phones, obey work zone speeds, and most importantly, stay alert. Let's make sure we get these people back home safely. We hope that the motorists who are tempted to speed and drive distracted through work zones remember that these are real people with real families and friends. Driving is a serious job, and preventing crashes that result in injuries or deaths is everyone's responsibility. For construction workers and WVDOT employees, the work zone is their office. You want to be safe in your office. I want to be safe in my office. Our employees who are on the roadway, they deserve the same consideration. The members of the Contractors Association of West Virginia thanks everyone who is here today to promote Work Zone Safety Awareness Week. Your efforts will help protect the people who are building a better West Virginia. Thank you.
I'm Bob Tipton. I'm the director of the Governor's Highway Safety Program. I've been doing that for about 21 years. Prior to that, I was a police officer for 24 years. So I'm looking at it from both perspectives. The one thing that we're charged with is driver's behavior, and we do that in a lot of different ways. And work zone safety is a very small part of that, but we're heavily engaged in trying to help our partners at DOT, of which we are part of, to try to come up with safety solutions and to be able to help them fill some of these spots with law enforcement to get them to actually get them out there enforcing the law. I think, and you're probably tired of hearing the word COVID, but we were making tremendous progress on everything that we do until COVID. And we've kind of relaxed. I think we have to reinvigorate our safety efforts. And we definitely have to do things on certain parts of the highways that other parts you may not have to. I was looking at some data before I came, and the vast majority of the speed-related crashes don't happen on the interstate. They happen on secondary roads. So it's not just an interstate issue. It's a every place issue. Driving too fast. If you go, I'm sure some of you travel south. I go to North Carolina about 10 or 15 times a year. And when you get through that tunnel into Virginia, what's one of the first things you do? Is you slow down. Because if you don't, you're going to get a ticket in Wythe County, Virginia. I can guarantee it. And we have to make that perception a reality in West Virginia, that if you go 80 miles an hour, there's a good chance that you're going to get a ticket. And that's what the 15 to 20% of the people who don't conform to the laws, they have to have that. They have to have that reality. And we need to try to get to that point where if you do it, you're going to get a ticket. You're going to have consequences to your actions. So that's where we're headed with everything we do. And as I said, it's not just work zone, it's speed. Speed is a huge problem. It's a priority issue with us. We work with every law enforcement agency in West Virginia, and we're going to do something about speed in West Virginia over the summer. We're going to concentrate on it. We're going to measure it with the help of our partners at DOH and with law enforcement that you see behind us. We're going to make it happen. So that's what we're excited about is making that happen. Also, a reminder that this is April is Distracted Driving Month, and that's a huge issue in a work zone. If you come to a work zone and you're typing something into your phone or you're talking on the phone, all of a sudden you're confronted with people, with vehicles working, and something bad's going to happen. So you have to put that phone down. It's so important to pay attention to what you're doing. And as Cindy said, rear-end crashes are only caused by one thing: you're not looking, and you have to look at the roadway in front of you. It'll happen so fast that it surprised you. And some of you, I'm sure, have been in crashes where you were totally surprised by being in that crash. So that's part of it. Buckling, wearing a seatbelt. May is Click It or Ticket month for us, and we're going to be out there enforcing the seatbelt laws strongly throughout West Virginia, but especially in counties that have low usage rates. So if you live in McDowell County or Mingo County, you're going to see a whole lot of policemen out there because that's the lowest counties, two of the lowest counties in West Virginia. And one thing that we have to really concentrate on, I think, and sometimes we all make the mistake of doing it, a crash is not an accident. It's not. It doesn't just happen. It happens for a reason. It happens because somebody did something wrong, or they misjudged, or they did not conform to the law. That's why there was a crash. So it's not an accident. Maybe if a tree falls on you, that's an accident, but that's about it. So thank you very much. Be happy to answer any questions afterwards. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Matthew Epling with the West Virginia Public Service Commission, Motor Carrier Enforcement. I'll keep my message brief but to the point. We look forward to working with these other agencies while continuing to enforce traffic laws within these construction zones to make the roadway safer for the traveling public as well as the men and women that are making repairs to our roads. The message I want to portray is to let everyone know we will be out there. We will be issuing citations because one life is one too many.
I'm Lieutenant Chris with West Virginia State Police, run traffic records section. Again, we're here for the safety of the motorists that's out there going up and down our roadway. These law enforcement officers behind me, I think they'll agree with me 100% that they would much rather issue a traffic citation for speeding than deliver that death message to a family member that their loved one, either passenger, driver, or a road worker, has been killed in a construction zone or anywhere. So that traffic citation is a lot easier than to deliver that death message. What we always see is we see law enforcement officers sitting in the construction zones out there. Most people go by them and we don't do much. But this time you'll see that law enforcement officer sitting out there in that construction zone. But what you won't see is those other 3 or 4 that's in that construction zone actively working that construction zone, writing citations for any infractions they may see. Again, everybody has one job to do, and it's to go home to their family in the evenings. Thank you.
Well, as you can see, there's a commitment with these agencies to deal with work zone speeders, and I want to point something. Cindy brought a good point up, and I wanted to continue that thought. That speed meter located there on the sidewalk, that speed meter is borrowed from the West Virginia Turnpike Parkways Authority, and that particular unit was worked the Beckley widening project. It was down there for about 1.5 years, but I wanted to share with you what that speed meter picked up. Of course, as you know, in a work zone on the interstate, it's 15 miles below the posted, made it 55 miles an hour. There were 9,300 speeders in a day. Average speed was 61, but here's what I want you to know. In that specific project, the Beckley widening project on the Turnpike, the median speed was 55. maximum speed 108 miles an hour in a 55 zone. That's what we're trying to do, is get the message to those people. Can you imagine 108 through a work zone? Well, that concludes our public relations outreach here today. Media, we have some backdrops if you'd like to use them for interviews. Feel free to use the cones behind us, but thank you for being here. And let's all team up together and help us spread the word how important wearing orange, but affecting our road habits, especially in work zones. So available for questions. Thank you.